following is a presentation of HBO Sports.
Not long ago, Canadian icons Lucien Boutet and Jean Pascal were two of boxing's rising stars. Boutet was an unbeaten and dominant title holder at 168 pounds.
Combination from Boutet. Down he goes! He didn't see that one coming.
While Jean Pascal claimed the linear championship of the light heavyweight division.
Hard right hand by Pascal. Brings the crowd alive.
They appeared to be on a collision course, destined to battle for national pride in one of the most anticipated fights in Canadian history.
Right now, I'm one of the best in the world, and if Lucien Boutet want to fight me, he has to challenge me.
But that once inevitable matchup was derailed. Both men lost their titles.
Oh! Super right hand by Hopkins.
He was just way too much for Boutet.
And their once promising careers were stalled by injuries and inactivity. But with a new year comes new hope. Tonight, the Bell Centre in Montreal plays host to the long-awaited showdown between two of Canada's favorite sons. World Championship Boxing makes its 2014 debut with Jean Pascal versus Lucien Boutet next. It's a chilly night in Montreal. There's light snowfall outside, but the Bell Centre is expected to be packed to the rafters for the showdown between Pascal and Boutet. Hello again, everybody. I'm Jim Lampley. Welcome to this very special HBO World Championship Boxing doubleheader from Montreal. Later on tonight, the showdown between Pascal and Boutet. But first, we're going to visit the heavyweight division again and continue to follow the career of Mike Perez, originally from Cuba, now living in Cork, Ireland, as he takes on relatively unknown Carlos Takam, originally from Cameroon, now fighting out of France. Perez is a heavy favorite, but there are question marks because this is the first time that he's been in the ring since his tumultuous battle on November 2 in the small room at Madison Square Garden with Russia's Magomed Abdusalamov, a fight which culminated in a hard-fought unanimous decision win for Perez, but which left Abdusalamov the following day in an induced coma for bleeding on the brain. And since that time, Abdusalamov, though he has survived, has not yet fully recovered from the trauma of that evening. So now Perez gets ready to go into the ring against Takam with the dark cloud of Abdusalamov's continuing condition hanging over his head, and he has Magomed Abdusalamov's name stitched into his trunks and has promised to give a portion of his purse to Abdusalamov's wife and children as they continue dealing with the overwhelmingly staggering costs of Magomed's recovery. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape now for Perez against Takam. And you will see that Perez is 5 years younger than the Cameroonian fighter, gives up 1.5 inches in height. He'll be giving up height to almost all of his heavyweight opponents. Gives up 4 inches in arm length to Takam, and 25 pounds, the difference between 231 and 256. Carlos Takam has a glittering record against abject opposition, really lackluster. Takam grew up in Douala, the largest city in the African nation of Cameroon. While so many of his compatriots grew up soccer mad, Carlos and his friends were taken instead by the sweet science.
I started boxing almost by accident. I was with friends, and almost every night we'd watch Mike Tyson fights on TV coming in from the US until 3 or 4 in the morning. That's really what got me started. I started boxing in college during my studies. I must have been 22 and a half, 23 years old. Sugar Ray Leonard was my idol for his style and for the man he was. He inspired my own style as a fighter.
Here comes Takam, a big man, clearly athletic, His two signature wins, however, Max Kellerman, were against Michael Grant and Franz Botha. Both of them early middle-aged at this point in their careers, and pretty well done by the time Takam got him into the ring.
Yeah, Takam has some ability, but when you start fighting at 23, to develop skill necessary to compete on the highest level is difficult. But you see he does some natural things as a fighter. He's aggressive. He doesn't have to think as much before he does something in the ring as many fighters who take up the sport so late do.
A guy who took up boxing at 23 against a guy with a Cuban amateur background, Roy Jones. What can he do to prevent a mismatch?
Well, the only thing he can do is try to put pressure, and more pressure. He definitely is the most inexperienced guy in this battle, so the only thing that can compensate for that inexperience is constant pressure.
Meanwhile, the spotlight, as Takam gets into the ring, falls on Mike Perez. Perez left Cuba about 7 years ago, has been living in Cork, Ireland ever since. As you look at the graphic that lists the key wins over Grant and Botha, some of you probably didn't know that Grant and Botha were still performing in the ring at this stage. It's been 77 days, 11 weeks since the tragic night of November 2, when after taking a 10-round beating from Mike Perez, Mago Abdusalamov lapsed into a coma. This is Perez's first walk to the ring since then. So what are some of the thoughts which run through his mind? Tremendous show of courage by Abdusalamov. Tremendous show of skill by Mike Perez.
Fight was Saturday night. I go home like Sunday night. I heard that was what happened to him. Yeah, it was very, very sad news. So the way people was, texting me and just in Facebook and everything, I had to close everything because they always said that was my fault, and but not really was my fault. That could happen to me. So no was my intention just to hurt him either. So I don't know.
He's not going to forget it. It's going to be in the back of his mind. What we have to make sure of is that he understands that it could happen to him. It could happen to him, and if he consistently thinks about it during the fight, he may be laying next to Magomed after this fight. He's got to go out and do a job. We're not trying to hurt anybody. We're doing a job, and hopefully the other side's doing their part in their job so the man's ready so he doesn't get hurt.
We agreed just to make a little bit dedication to him, just the fight, and I wearing the trunks with his name here, so hope his family like it, and we're gonna don some money for his family and to support him because it's a great fighter. I know talk much to him or nothing, but he look like a nice guy, and I think that if that would happen to me or anybody, somebody can do that,
This is the appropriate moment for us to remind you of the website ring10ny.com. Please visit that website to learn how you can donate to the continuation of Magomed Abdusalamov's recovery and help with his family's tremendous ordeal. Roy Jones, the historic pattern for fighters in Mike Perez's position is that many of them have never been able to bring themselves back to the same level of aggression and effectiveness in the ring. What personality strengths do you see in Perez that might help him to deal with this?
Well, the first personality strength that I see is the fact that he had to defect from Cuba. He had to put his life on the line just to become a professional fighter. So to become a professional fighter, he started out with his life on the line. He understands how that feels on both sides. He definitely feels sorrow for Abdusalamov, but he also understands that it could very well happen to him.
We heard the comments of Abel Sanchez and Max Kellerman. It's noteworthy that Sanchez was training Sergei Kovalev at the moment 2.5 years ago when Kovalev in Russia destroyed a Russian fighter named Roman Simakov, who himself developed severe brain damage after the fight and wound up dying. If you want an example of a fighter who's gone right on through it without being affected, that's Kovalev.
Mike Perez was overshadowed in the aftermath of the Abdusalamov fight, but he is a shining light now in the heavyweight division, and maybe that fight will help him progress as a fighter. He's fighting in an American style, more aggressive now, but still a little stiff-legged and stiff-backed and getting hit more than he should. And Abel Sanchez is trying to get him to be more of an aggressive rhythm fighter who's able to slip some of those punches as he gets inside.
We are live in Montreal. Just this one preliminary heavyweight fight before Boutte and Pascal get into the ring together. Let's go to ring announcer Michael Buffer for the official introductions.
Mesdames et messieurs, bonsoir, bienvenue au Centre Bell, Montreal. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the Bell Center of Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Tonight, Group Yvan Michel and Itterbox with Ms. Mezejou and Videotron proudly present an evening of world-class professional boxing for your entertainment. This event tonight is dedicated to the memory of Don Jose Suleiman. At ringside, the three judges scoring this contest will be L'Étoile Juge, Nicolas Esnard, Jacques Gaultier, and Sylvain Leblanc. And inside the ring, in charge of the action at the bell, your referee, Frank Garza. And now this is a K2 promotion scheduled for 10 rounds in the heavyweight division. It's for the WBC US NBC Championship. So let's get this party started. Fighting out of the blue corner, Aquam Bluge, wearing black with gold, officially weighing in at 256.2 pounds. His professional record, an outstanding one, consisting of 29 victories, including 23 KOs, only one defeat. Originally from Cameroon, but now living, training, and fighting out of Noisy-le-Grand, France. Ladies and gentlemen, the challenger, Carlos Takam. And his opponent across the ring in the red corner, Aquan Rouge. This contest dedicated to Mago. His professional record, a perfect one, 20 victories, including 12 KOs. He's wearing white trimmed with blue, originally from Cuba, now living, training, and fighting out of Cork, Ireland. He's the undefeated WBC US NBC heavyweight champion, Mike the Rebel Perez.
Boxer, center of the ring. Okay, see where his trunks are? Nothing on the trunks. Mira, nothing on the trunks. Got to be up. You, I'm going to give him right up here to the top, all right? All right, touch him up, may the best man win.
For the second consecutive fight here on HBO, Perez is matched with a fighter who promises to make an entertaining fight. These two should be going at it from pretty much the opening bell.
In your corner. Ready? Ready? Back, 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 back. Ready? Box!
Round one begins. A product of the Cuban amateur system, Perez is trained to be measured, calculated, intelligent. He likes to throw about 50 or 55 punches around, the moderate pace that most heavyweights tend to favor. Against Abdusalamov, he was throwing 80-plus punches around because Abdusalamov was coming forward, pressuring him, and throwing big shots. If Takam can do the same and will do the same, and perhaps Perez can look exciting and vibrant in this fight as he did in the small room at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, Takam is a little bit different, though. He's not really as aggressive as a guy like Abdusalamov was. He doesn't have the punch that Abdusalamov has, so he realizes that he has to try to survive in other ways. He won't come out and be nearly as aggressive as you would see a guy like Abdusalamov.
Who was as aggressive as Abdusalamov, though. He was an extremely aggressive heavyweight.
And already Mike Perez is either his hook or his left hand has bothered Takam's right eye. I've seen him picking at it 2 or 3 times like that. which shows
Perez began the fight with Abdusalamov landing a crushing left hook in the first moments of the fight, and he has started off with the left hand again here.
Yeah, he gets his respect right away, which is a smart thing. Early. Although Takam is not a big puncher, he still has to get the respect and let Takam know that he's the bigger puncher, not Takam.
Takam with a record of 29-1.
Takam looks best to me when he's being aggressive, when he's not trying to think. Right now he's fighting off his back foot as though he thinks he can outbox Mike Perez, given Mike Perez's amateur background. Maybe not the best strategy.
Not the best strategy at all, Max, but when he can't out-punch Mike Perez, his only option is to try to be as safe as possible. It's like you said earlier, when guys pick up boxing at a later age, things don't come to them as easy as it does to a guy who was raised up boxing.
Another thing that facilitated the fast pace for Perez in New York on November 2 was that Abdusalamov was another southpaw. So they were lined up in such a fashion that both could go ahead and fire away without the restrictions that emerged from this more customary matchup of the southpaw Perez against the conventional fighter Takam.
Yes, and Perez just landed a beautiful overhand left that Takam took pretty well, but he's still messing with that right eye, so something has happened with that right eye. And you're right, when a southpaw fights another southpaw, it makes it much easier for those guys to engage one another.
Takam landed a good little right hand inside, but punches like that have been few and far between for him in the early going. Perez, precise once again, picking Takam apart with clean shots in the first round. Boom!
All right. You got to make him work. All right? You don't have the speed to match this guy. You understand me? Take a step forward.
Háganlo reaccionar un pasito para frente y un pasito para el derecho para agarrar el gancho, ¿eh?
Here's he calls Takam come out, and before the first punch is thrown, he's wiping his eye already. I don't know if somebody put something bad in his eye or if he saw something he didn't like or what happened. And once again, he's wiping it before the second round starts. So I don't know what's wrong with it, but something's definitely wrong with either his nasal cavity or his eye before the fight.
Vaseline, Roy?
Maybe Vaseline, but Vaseline wouldn't cause that unless someone placed it directly in your eye.
Combi box numbers in round one. Perez was 12 of 44, Takam 7 of 37. So together they threw 81 punches, which is just about the number of punches that Perez averaged per round in his last outing against Abdusalamov. Already we see that this fight will be fought at something more like the normal measured heavyweight pace.
Surprising to me because Takam, unless he thinks he's going to run Mike Perez into something, I don't see how he thinks he can win a fight this way. Against Michael Grant, a taller fighter, a rangier fighter, he had to get inside and was more aggressive. Maybe he feels because he has the size and reach advantage, he can outbox Perez from the outside, but it's foolish.
Yeah, it is foolish, but that's definitely what he's thinking. And for him, he feels safer being on the outside, taking frantic chances one at a time, than being caught close with an exchange where he knows he's going to lose.
Took him 8 rounds to get rid of Grant. Took him 11 rounds to get rid of Bota. So Takam is not a 1 or 2 round knockout artist. It takes him a while to make the point, even against opponents who are outmatched. We've got an announced crowd of 20,479 in the Bell Center, which means that both Jean Pascal and Lucien Boutte will be fighting before the largest crowd ever to have seen them fight here in Montreal, and both have sold a lot of tickets prior to tonight.
Yeah, they have, and I tell you what, Mike Perez is breaking Takam with some beautiful, very hard, clean shots, and his legs are not even buckling yet. But he won't take those all night.
And Perez can't just give Takam the bum's rush because a 250-pound heavyweight, doesn't matter how much more experience you have, has automatic knockout power.
Exactly, especially in 12-ounce gloves.
You heard trainer Abel Sanchez speaking Spanish to Perez between rounds. Perez lives in County Cork in Ireland, which was well known as an area of resistance to English domination. Their hurling team is called the Rebels, and that's one of the reasons he uses the nickname the Rebel, Mike the Rebel Perez. But by choosing to use that nickname, he forgoes the possibility of using what I think would be one of the best nicknames in boxing, Irish Mike Perez. Sweeping right hand by Perez closed out the round. Next Saturday, 130-pound champ Mikey Garcia kicks off his 2014 campaign against Juan Carlos Burgos. Check out HBO on Instagram for more photos like this of Mikey. And also that night, undefeated Philly heavyweight Bryant Jennings faces Artur Szpilka. Our first look at American heavyweight Bryant Jennings on HBO.
Está ganando distancia, estoy seguro que no me lo siga, la primera. Segunda, un pasito para afuera. Y la tercera, cuando lo haga reaccionar, esté listo para hacer el canto. Empezar más un golpe, no es pura combinación. Deep breath.
Muy bien. Here see Carlos Takam with his right hand up, but he still manages to get caught by that overhand left because he was trying to punch or counter Mike Perez as he was punching. I think that was the best punch of the fight so far for Mike Perez.
That was interesting to watch Takam put up the guard and then turn in such a way as to make it ineffective.
Because he was trying to counter at the same time, and I think he misread the timing of the overhand left.
So Perez seemingly in control through the first 2 rounds.
So far, and Abel Sanchez admits it's a work in progress. It's not going to happen overnight. But he wants Perez to get lower as a small fighter on his way in. And Perez is still fighting with that kind of stiff back, Roy, and kind of standing up tall considering he's a short fighter on his way in.
Yeah, Max, but after so many years of fighting like that, you're not going to change it in 1 or 2 training camps. I know what the plan is, and I don't blame Abel. He's doing the right thing in trying to get him to move and be less stiff. But he's been doing this for as long as he's probably been boxing. So it's very hard to teach an old dog new tricks or to break him from those old habits right away.
Especially the way the Cuban amateur program drills these guys in that style.
Yep, and if it ain't broke to them, why fix it?
Perez is 28. Quite often you see heavyweights not reaching their maximum effectiveness until after age 30. It just takes longer to develop in that division.
Yeah, it does, and they have more time to develop because it seems like when we get a good one, he sticks around forever.
Witness Vitaly Klitschko, who at well over 40 still says he's an active fighter. Vladimir Klitschko, middle 30s, pressing on toward 40, shows no signs of weakening yet. And now Perez believes he's been thumbed in the left eye, and Takam, very sportsmanlike, agreed, and nope, there's a cut. Right eye.
Accidental headbutt. Okay.
Accidental headbutt.
That might do it, Jim.
That is a bad cut.
Yes, looks pretty bad in a pretty bad spot. And before it's 4 rounds, well, will they go to the scorecard?
Okay.
Well, let's ask Harold Letterman.
Jim, they go to the scorecards here at the top of the 5th round, the start of the 5th. So if the fight gets stopped because of that cut, it becomes a no decision.
The cut is long in a bad place.
A horrible place.
But it's not over the corner of the eye where it's going to drip straight in. It's over the brow, the top of the brow.
And you got to give Takam some credit because most guys would have tried to take a cheap shot on Perez right there. Takam didn't. He turned around like a man, walked away, said he was sorry, and that cut is in a bad place, Max, because that blood went right down in his face. Right down in his eyeball. Abel may want to consider stopping this and starting another day.
What?
I don't know if I've ever seen as instantaneous and sportsmanlike a reaction as Takam produced today.
Hey, that was a very manly move. He has gained my confidence and respect from him just for that move alone, because so many guys would have took a cheap shot at the other guy. And in all reality, we are fighters, but this is a brotherhood. You should not want to take a cheap shot to win a fight. You should want to win it fair and square.
Bell.
All right, here's the headbutt, which we will see now in replay.
And both guys right away acknowledged it as a headbutt. It was unintentional, but that's the way Takam reacted. And like I said, my hat goes off to him, because not many guys act that way or react that way.
Mike, a little water.
Sanchez, the trainer, does the cuts. So he's the man who is working on that cut in Mike Perez's corner.
A little more grease, man. Sorry. We got it. Water, Mike. A little water.
Abel is one of the true time-tested veterans of the sport. About 20 years ago, he trained Terry Norris and Terry's brother Orlin Norris, Lupe Aquino. So he's had star fighters before, and now, of course, he has one of the hottest stars in the sport in camp with Perez, and that would be Gennady Golovkin. Power shots through 3. Perez 24 of 49. Takam 15 of 60. Harold, how do you have it scored through 3?
Okay, Jim. You know, I got to tell you something. This ain't the same Mike Perez I saw fight Magomed. This ain't the same guy. Magomed started out, it was a sensational fight. This is murder. I've got it 2-1, 29-28. Mike Perez. I thought he won the first 2 rounds. I thought Takam got in some nice shots in round 3. I gave him round 3. Be as it may, 2-1, 29-28. Mike Perez in a very, very slow fight.
Well, Perez is the one coming forward, but it shows you how fraught with peril the heavyweight division is for a short southpaw without big punching power, who has not yet learned how to get down low defensively. Even in a fight, I think he's dominating. Where his opponent's really not doing much, still he's in a dangerous position now because of the headbutt.
So the goal is to get through this 4th round and get into the area where the fight can end with a decision one way or another. Because surely Perez is of the opinion, and his corner's of the opinion, that he's leading on the scorecards. I say surely in expectation that they see the same things we see.
And we can't say that he doesn't have punching power, because we haven't really seen him fight nobody except Magomed, but that fight apparently shows that he has to have some punching power. So we don't know.
No, he has. It's not that he's feather-fisted, but he's not a one-punch knockout artist. He has 20 fights now. He has 12 knockouts in the division.
Yeah, I think that could be from the opponents as well, because this guy shows great punching power at times. And maybe the guys he's fighting, and being that he's a short heavyweight, he's not as aggressive as a Mike Tyson, so he wouldn't get a chance to land that one-punch shot like Mike did. And I think that's why we see a lack of knockouts in his career.
Maybe. Abdusalamov had a good chin and a big heart. Perez landed a ton of shots against him. Travis Walker went the distance, among others.
With who?
With Mike Perez.
Yeah, but Travis Walker is tall, and Travis Walker is not a pushover.
Could have something to do with it.
This guy is not as aggressive as a Mike Tyson, so you won't expect him to knock out as many guys.
Hard right hand by Takam.
Best punch of the fight for Takam, I think, too.
Absolutely. Perez may be mildly distracted by that right eye, but Abel Sanchez did a wonderful job of stopping the blood, at least for the moment. It's not gushing.
I'll tell you what, that's the second big right hand that Perez has eaten this round.
As Takam's confidence begins to grow.
Yes, and he's looking a lot more comfortable right now. And I must say, he takes Perez's punch pretty good.
Okay. Yo tengo encontrado esta cosa, no se apure, usted sigue trabajando más duro.
When we go to the second fight tonight, Roy Jones is going to exit ringside as Roy will be working with Jean Pascal tonight. Roy has been in Pascal's camp prior to the fight, helping Pascal to train for the fight, and here you're looking at a visit which took place earlier this evening in Pascal's dressing room from light heavyweight champion of the world, Adonis Stevenson. Adonis and Roy exchanging pleasantries there. You saw Pascal and Adonis's promoter, Yvonne Michel, watching over them as Pascal prepared for the fight. CompuBox numbers in round 4. Perez 11 of 53, Takam 9 of 37, but Takam landed those 2 big right hands, and it's conceivable that a judge would have found him the winner of that round. We go to the 5th. And now we're into the area of the fight where if the fight were stopped because of the cut over Perez's right eye, and given that the cut has been clearly established as the product of an accidental headbutt, we would go to the scorecards to determine the winner of the fight.
Got to give Takam some credit too. He's fighting a very good fight against a very experienced fighter, and he's a guy who started late, and which we usually don't see these guys do too well after starting so late. But he's fighting a pretty good fight against a pretty good fighter here.
Just got a warning from veteran referee Frank Garza about once again allowing his head to come into play.
I agree, Roy, in spite of my earlier criticism of him. What he's shown with this strategy, keeping his distance and trying to run Perez into something, catch him on the way in, is that should something go wrong, like for example a cut resulting from an accidental headbutt, should Perez make mistakes, he's in more of a position to capitalize on them than he is if he tries to rush Perez and give him counterpunching opportunities.
And he takes Perez's punch better than I think Perez takes his punch. But he is 25 pounds heavier, so.
That makes sense. Good body shot there for Takam. Starting to throw his jab with more regularity now.
I don't think Abel planned on him staying back and boxing the way he's doing. I think they planned on him to come out and be more aggressive to give Perez some more opportunity to work.
But that goes out the window because of the cut over the right eye.
Well, that and the fact that he's using a jab and fighting behind the shoulder, a.k.a. James Toney-ish, and he's not really being as aggressive as they thought he would be. So Mike has to do most of the fighting and most of the gambling.
And that's a perilous position to be in against a guy who outweighs you 25 pounds.
Especially when he's the guy who's not supposed to be the showcase guy, you are.
Well, that's true. The reason for the fight to appear on HBO, the reason for the fight to be the main preliminary prior to Butte and Pascal, is Mike Perez's newfound celebrity in the division. And the chance that he can become that long-awaited challenger to the Klitschkos, who have held the throne mutually for quite some time. Perez got back to being a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more relaxed and free-flowing in that round.
Tiene que brincar, ya no me lo hace fallar, Mike. Dale, güey. Como le digo, me lo está haciendo fallar muy bien, pero se queda fuera usted. Tiene que entrar y tirar un upper con la izquierda. Upper ahí donde está él doblando para abajo.
Former 168-pound world titleist Lucien Butte is moving up in weight tonight to fight Jean Pascal at Pascal's preferred weight of 175 pounds. There was a moment a few years ago when the fight might have taken place at 168 because Pascal was in a state of flux for a while between 168 and 175, but now Jean Pascal is a fully established light heavyweight. Butte, if he wanted the fight, needed to move up 7 pounds. The fight was originally scheduled for March of last year, but Butte suffered a hand injury for which he has had surgery, and it took a while to recover. Thus, the 14-month layoff in his career coming into tonight. Copy box numbers total through 5. Perez 52 of 236. Takam 41 of 179. Takam warming up a little bit in the last couple of rounds. And we are midway through the fight.
I don't think the Klitschko's lose any sleep over this performance so far from Mike Perez, but you know, against Abdusalamov, who's a big, dangerous, aggressive guy, Perez came right out, aware of the threat, and really lit into Abdusalamov right in that first round to gain his respect. And here, Takam may have taken the edge off of Perez's attack by laying back, by being less threatening early.
Yeah, now he's trying to fight on the inside more.
Now that Perez is a little more subdued than he may otherwise be, Takam's picking up his pace.
Now he's doing what they planned for him to do from round 1. He's being aggressive, he's staying inside and fighting the fight that Abel wants him to fight. That's Takam.
Is it more difficult for Mike Perez to generate comfort fighting on the inside? Normally a preferred situation for him, Roy, given the cut over his eye due to a butt?
No, I think it's perfect for him. This is where he wants to be at all times. He's a short-armed heavyweight. He's only 6'1". Takam has to reach, and really, this is where Mike Perez should have been from round 1.
The activity level has suddenly gone way up.
This is the fight I was expecting from the opening bell. Given their size and styles and the way I've seen Takam fight at his best. And we're here halfway through the fight.
And this could be worse for the head for Mike Perez because, as you see, their heads are colliding a lot more now. Oh,
hard right hand by Takam.
Oh,
and a good left hook inside. And now a shot to the body. Carlos Takam is making his presence felt here in round number 6.
If you don't punch yourself out right here, he can make this very interesting.
This is not, you know, of course, it's always a question after a fight like the one Perez just had, the aftermath of that fight, what that takes out of Perez. But this here, a lot of this is Takam with an impressive boxing brain, let alone his size and everything.
I don't see any sign whatsoever that Perez is in some way affected by the mental hangover from the Abdusalamov thing.
None.
He's got a whole different problem in front of him. And that's Carlos Takam.
A whole different problem and a whole different type of a problem because he's fighting the same fight that they want Mike Perez to fight.
Takam didn't finish college, but is college educated, and
Takam is suddenly trying to take over the fight as round 6 comes to a close.
A smart fighter with a real intuitive sense of pace and rhythm.
All right, relax. Est-ce que ça va? Okay. Mais reste debout.
Here see Takam missed with a right uppercut, followed by a backhand, then a good right hook from the southpaw stance. Didn't do much damage because he's an orthodox fighter, so he's not good at throwing a powerful right hook from the from the southpaw stance.
Was the backhand punch illegal?
Semi, but I don't think the referee really was concerned.
Frank Garza, the referee by his own admission, is somewhat laissez-faire about low blows. He feels as though too many low blows are called for punches on the belt line, and he lets those go. Harold, how do you have it through 6?
Look at you. I've got it 4 rounds to 2, 58-56, Mike Perez. I tell you something, Jim, that 6th round was very, very interesting. Head-to-head, toe-to-toe, and Carlos Takam did a great job. I mean, he landed some really nice shots. He won that 6th round. No doubt about it. It just puts him right back in the fight. And I tell you, if he was smart, he would stop backing up and move forward and fight more head-to-head. Because, you know, as you saw in the 6th round, he's able to win a round doing that rather than backing up. Anyway, 4 rounds to 2, Mike Perez, based on, you know, basically his boxing.
Well, after puttering along slowly for 5 rounds, bumping up here and there with fewer punches than the crowd would have liked to have seen, they landed a total of 55 punches between them in the 6th round. Takam landed 33 of those, and when he returned to the corner, the French interpreter in his corner tells us that his trainer, Joseph Jamin, said to him, "That's exactly what I expected from you. Those are the kinds of rounds I want to see."
But, you know, he's able to do that maybe because he took the edge off Perez boxing at a distance early and got Perez at a certain speed and mindset and then took advantage suddenly. It's Perez with the cut over his eye. It's Perez who's absorbed most of the biggest shots in this fight.
Those kind of rounds also caused a lot of energy from Takam. He went back to the corner after that round, and he wasn't as calm and relaxed as he had been the few rounds before that. He spent a lot of energy in that last round fighting in close. Now he's trying to do it, but modify the output so that he doesn't burn himself completely out.
Great point. But the sheer weight and strength of Takam inside seems to be bothering Perez.
It is. Perez is the smaller, the lighter guy. Anytime you got a big guy leaning on you like that, like Max said, he may not have the most explosive one-punch knockout now for sure, because Takam took the edge off of him first before he engaged in this type of a battle. And that's a smart thing, being that he's the least experienced of the two, and he's the bigger of the two.
The biggest shock in this fight so far for me is all the big head-snapping shots, like that right hand for Takam, have been landed by Takam. Perez very rarely has flown Takam's head, but in the last couple rounds especially, Takam's done just that to Perez.
And he is wailing away at Perez's body, sometimes throwing in combination, as increasingly again, the momentum of the fight is switching toward the Cameroonian-born French fighter who fought a fight on the island of Martinique less than 1 month ago. Good left hand inside by Perez. Maybe that'll give him something to build on as he goes back to his corner after round 7. This Tuesday, check out the latest Real Sports for a look at marijuana in the NFL. Is it time for America's most popular sport to accept America's most popular recreational drug? Tune in to see the argument.
Tira 3-4 golpes al cuerpo, usted tiene que reaccionar rápido. No puede dejarlo trabajar. Qué bien. Ahí le voy. Water on top.
He's to come with a left hook, snapping Mike Perez's head back like Max was talking about. And you see Takam has the chin very much tucked, looking a lot like old James Toney there, hid behind that shoulder. And what that shows me is an indication that Takam is weary of Perez's power, but Perez is not so weary about his.
So that when Perez was coming back with the left hand, he couldn't find Takam's chin and landed it instead on the shoulder. Round 7, CompuBox numbers on power punches. Perez was 13 out of 33. That's not bad. But Takam was 22 out of 45, verging up very close to that 50% power punch mark that means you're fighting successfully. And now he's backing Perez up in round number 8.
I got to tell you, in the fighter meetings yesterday, my impression was Takam does not know what he's getting into. He's not prepared mentally for the challenge, but in fact, it looks like Perez maybe didn't know what he was getting into.
That's exactly right, Max. Takam is a guy who has everything to gain here, nothing to lose. The fact that he just fought 3 weeks ago shows you that he was already in shape, so he may be somewhat in better condition right now than a Mike Perez is.
Go back to their amateur backgrounds and the pedigrees that go with them. If you're a Cuban fighter at the Olympics or the World Championships and you see in the draw that your opponent is from Cameroon, walk over. Great. Let's start thinking about the next round. That's not the case here tonight.
He just ate a beautiful Mike Perez left hand and walked forward afterwards, like he was almost a little bit pissed off. Good body shots by Takam, too.
And he's very intelligently focused on the body in the last couple of rounds.
And that's what I think Perez is not doing enough of. I don't think he's going to the body a lot like he probably needs to, especially the fact that he's fighting a bigger fighter.
Takam's boxing brain is impressive tonight so far.
Yeah, he has a very high boxing IQ.
I'm wondering if after this round, Abel Sanchez can find something to say to Perez that will help him to use his greater skills to seize the initiative and take the fight over again. Perez is trying to generate energy right now with a minute to go in the 8th round.
Okay. Perez is tired, maybe a little bit more tired than Takam. Yeah, so, and that's probably part of it. It's two things: the body shots that Takam's hitting him with, and the fact that Takam just fought 3 weeks ago. Good body shots by Takam.
Yes, and you saw them landing right on the belt line, and you see there how Frank Garza does not step in to discipline or warn fighters after they land body shots on the belt line. Those are okay with him.
And he's right. I mean, the belt line is not what the problem is. The problem is a little bit below the belt line in the middle.
No, hold the head. No, hold the head. Buck.
Big night in Montreal. Flurry of snow outside. Dancing and revelry inside. Crowd of 20,479 on hand to see two favorite sons of Montreal. Jacques Pascal, former light heavyweight champion of the world. Lucien Boutte, former 168-pound title holder. They've circled each other for quite a while. Tonight, the circling stops.
Don't let him work so much in there. A little up and a little hook. A little up and a little hook. But you gotta throw it.
All right, you gotta go. Keep moving out there. You okay? Yeah? All right. All right, you feel fine? Okay, you gotta go. Don't let up. Keep at him. We've reached a point now where Takam has landed more punches in the fight by CompuBox count than has Perez. Had the edge in the last 3 rounds by 75 to 61, and you can see that Harold Lederman has scored all 3 of those last 3 rounds for Takam, bringing the fight to even on his unofficial scorecard.
Abel Sanchez told us that at training camp in Big Bear, when Golovkin had to get a haircut one day, he wanted to take Perez with him. And Abel said, with all the Eastern European guys in camp, you want to take Perez, a Cuban from Ireland? Why? How do you communicate even? And Golovkin said, I like him. He's serious about his work. Mike Perez better get serious right now, because this fight, I think Harold has it even, and I think that's right on the money. It's within a round or 2 at least.
And the fight would seem in the last few rounds to be slipping away from Perez. By the way, we mentioned at the beginning of the fight that he threw an average of 81 punches per round on November 2 against Magomed Abdusalamov. Tonight, he's back to his normal pace, 51 punches per round.
And all of that has to be credited to Carlos Takam, because he came out and boxed early, not to allow Mike Perez to get into the Mike Perez rhythm, and then he changed it up mid-fight. Not many fighters can do that.
Very impressive.
Nor can many corners instruct their fighters to do that.
And now in the face of this greater challenge than anticipated, Perez is going to have to do something different. I don't think it's simply a matter of doing this only harder. He has to change something.
He's been working hard in this round, but he's still getting outworked by Takam, who has put on an energy burst here in round number 9.
Yeah, the bigger man is coming to life here. The fact that they're banging bodies is all working in Takam's favor. These things like that are making up for the lack of experience that he has.
Fight suddenly changed in the 5th round. First 4 rounds were slow enough that Harold Lederman complained that it was brutal to watch, and many in the crowd were booing. But they've been having fun since the 5th round, when Carlos Takam turned up the heat, changed the tempo of the fight, and began dominating on the inside.
And he's definitely dominating right now. I don't know if Perez has the power at this point in the fight to do him any damage either.
And I'm not sure Perez can blame the cut, because Sanchez did a terrific job of stopping the blood.
Yeah, I don't think he would try to blame the cut. I think he'll realize after watching the tape that the bigger man outworked him, or is outworking him at this point.
1 round to go.
Ok, le voy a decir lo malo de esto. Usted está tirando dos golpes buenos, pero me lo deja tirar a él 3 o 4 que son no tan buenos, pero él está metiendo golpes también, ¿ok? So no podemos dejarlo ganar los rounds. Si este round lo necesito badly, ¿ok? Necesitamos este round muy mal. Thank you. Importante, Mike, necesitamos este round. Si lo tumba mejor, pero lo necesitamos, ¿me entiende, verdad? Si no...
All right, you got to bring him down. You got to bring him down. Round 9, total punches. Perez was 18 out of 45. Takam, 26 of 84. The 84 punches, his high outlook for the fight. Desire. As much as anything, that's what Takam has shown. He wants it. Let's see if Perez can turn it around in round 10.
Whose corner said you got to put him down? That's what I want to know.
Takam's corner, I believe.
They said you got to put him down?
That would be remarkable. Harold, how do you have it through 9?
Okay, Jim, I got it close. 5 rounds to 4, 86-85, Carlos Takam. You know, Jim, what Carlos Takam learned, I think, about the 5th to 6th round is don't go backwards. Keep coming forward. You know, don't take a backward step, because it's really, you know, him putting pressure on Mike Perez. He's doing a terrific job inside. See, he comes forward, he lands really good shots, and he's been winning all the late rounds.
Harold, our French interpreter, Christian Gauthier, assures us that Joseph Germain in Takam's corner twice told him very clearly between rounds, you must put him down. You must put him on the canvas in this 10th round. And Takam is trying to do exactly that.
Maybe they're trying to tell him this to ensure a victory.
Harold mentioned in the 4th round, because we asked the question at the top of the broadcast, what is Mike Perez going to be after the Abdusalamov fight? What effect would it have on him? And we talked about it largely in psychological terms, but it was a brutal fight. And the physical reality may be, not to take anything away from Takam, who's fighting an excellent fight, Perez may not have the same pep in his step after a brawl like that, and certainly not after 9 rounds of this.
He looks no different in this 9th round than he did in the Abdusalamov fight in the 9th round, except that he was winning that fight. He's not winning this fight right now. That's the only difference I see in him. He was about the same pace. He was about the same style. He just was fighting a different fight because Abdusalamov was allowing him to fight a different fight. He's no different right now than he was then. He just got a different man in front of him right now.
Whereas Takam, who 29 days ago got a 3rd round knockout over Yakov Gospik on the island of Martinique, shows no wear and tear from that whatsoever.
If anything, he shows extra conditioning because he just fought 3 weeks ago. He probably went right back to the gym right away, or he may have taken a couple days off and got right back on it. So he's in pretty superb shape for this fight.
Takam's sense of when to step on the gas, when to back off, how to pace himself in this fight, just very impressive, and he's carrying this round.
That was the most impressive part of the fight that I saw, Max. He knew when to step on the gas, when to change the fight. Not that he may win the fight here, we don't know that for sure because the judges do have to judge the fight, but he did put on one heck of an effort, and I think his name will be thrown into that heavyweight hat now.
Well, Larry Merchant was identified with his great quote, boxing is the theater of the unexpected, and if you're looking for which division is by the farthest margin, the theater of the unexpected, it's the heavyweight division. More shocks can take place here than anywhere else in the sport. This will be a shock if the judges prefer Carlos Takam, and they might.
You mean if they do what?
If they prefer him.
Oh, okay. Oh, good shot.
A tale of 2 fights. 5 rounds weren't that good. The next 5, not bad at all.
Yep. So now they hold their breath in the corner of Mike Perez, who was heavily favored coming into the fight. And hopes rise in the corner of Carlos Takam. Put on a spirited underdog performance down the stretch. 10th round. Let's look at Carlos Takam, how he responded to his trainer's demand that he tried to put Perez on the canvas in those final 3 minutes of the fight. Landing the big right hand against the ropes there. And now watch the uppercut. Knocking the head of Perez back. He wasn't able to get him to the canvas, but he might have secured a decision.
In spite of what Roy said, I don't want to take anything away from Takam. I don't know that Perez was quite the same fighter tonight as he was against Abdusalamov, where from the first round he fought with a real sense of urgency.
Harold, who are the three judges who will render the official decision here?
You know, Jim, they're all local judges, and I'll tell you, some of the judging in the preliminaries tonight has been a little bit strange. But anyway, Nicholas Esnault, no notable fights at all, so we really don't know much about him. Local guy. Jean Gaultier, he worked Pascal decision over Kuzminski, as you see. He had it 98-90 for Pascal, which was absolutely right, but not much experience. Sylvain LeBlanc, the same thing. One title fight, very little experience. We found that he worked Librado Andrade over Eric Lucas.
Michael Buffer has the official decision in his hand. And now let's go to him for the result.
Mesdames et messieurs, ladies and gentlemen, we go to the scorecards. Nicholas Esnault scores the contest 96-94. Jean Gaultier and Sylvain Leblanc scored it the same, 95-95. It is a majority draw. The title stays with the champion. This contest is a draw.
Well, the draw is pretty much the same as an upset loss for Perez, given the degree to which he was favored.
But if anyone deserved to win, you got the feeling it was Takam.
Max Kellerman, you did not hear the beginning of that comment, but Max, I believe, was saying that a draw was a good enough call.
Yeah, I thought it was a 5-round-to-5 fight. Takam won the rounds by larger margins, but there were no 10-8 rounds.
Down to the final CompuBox numbers, you see Takam winds up landing 20 more punches than did Mike Perez, and throwing 40 more punches. He was the aggressor down the stretch. He boosted his numbers after having fallen behind on those charts in the first 4 rounds. Power shots, a bigger edge for Takam. He lands 31 more of them, and he throws nearly 200 more power shots. And a lot of those were those body punches on which he was bunching up down the stretch of the fight. Next up, it's Jean Pascal against Lucien Boutet. Perhaps the most notable reason for this matchup is